A couple of years ago, you raced in an off-road truck race, not like the short cart races, but a pretty long distance one. Unfortunately, in the same race, you dislocated your shoulder. What do you think of the off-road trucks, and how's your shoulder now?
The off-road truck was fun. It's different kind of racing because it's endurance. I would like to say I had a very nasty end-over-end 20 times wreck and dislocated my shoulder, but it was actually, we just hit a rock and my dumb sprint car mentality holds onto the steering wheel too hard, and that was part of it. There was some other stuff with the wheel that was a little different, but it was just a freak accident that no one could predict, and so I liked it. I would have liked to have done it again. My uncle Ken owned the truck and he sold it before we could race it again, so I would still like to do it. It's fun kind of racing, it's different, and my shoulder's fine. I mean, there's times that it hurts a little bit here or there, but I don't really notice much with it. It's pretty much back the way it was.
Kind of near the end of your sprint car driving career, you started driving outlaw karts at the Rebel F Outlaws and at Cycling Speedway. What did you enjoy about the karts, and did you just have fun in them?
Yeah.
Or what was your thoughts about the karts, I should say?
Well, it's bad to race sprint cars and other stuff your whole career and then go to go-karts. So, I mean, I had fun with them at times. It was it's different than driving a sprint car. It's not the same. Like everyone says, it beats the crap out of you. And it's just some of the mentality of the other racers isn't quite the same as what I was used to racing with. So I had fun in it. I think it's still a good way for people to come up through racing, and it offers, you know, a lot for beginners and stuff like that. And there's been some great drivers come out of those cars, but probably not the best thing to do when you're you know, a guy that's driven sprint cars for 19 years or so and decide that you're going to go, you know, drive a go-kart.
In 2014, you retired. Oh wait, excuse me. Quit owning a car. What led you to that decision to step away from the driving and owning part of the car?
It just was a lot of work. So what it was is I felt like I had done everything I was going to be able to do with my resources and my skills, and it was just a lot of work, and it felt like, you know, I wasn't going to accomplish anything more. I was just kind of spinning my wheels where I was at. We could be competitive, but I just lacked that extra funds that needed to do it right, and help. I needed some more help, and we had proven as a team when we had the right people helping us that we were fast and can win races. It just kind of got burnt out on it. I would still love to race. I love racing. I love sprint cars. But the amount of work it takes to get it to the track started overcoming the enjoyment I got at the track.
Now, after you've stepped away from the driving part, you help Michael Ing and Brad Bumgarner. What do you enjoy about helping the other drivers?
I enjoy just being part of the equation. It sounds funny, but when I owned the car, I was most of the equation. Everything from the ice chest to the top wing, I used to say. And so I enjoy not being totally responsible for everything. When I was a driver owner, I was responsible for everything that happened. And so it's nice to be able to, you know, help guys out with what I learned over the years, because most of the stuff I learned the hard way. And so I can pass that on. And I enjoy working on race cars. It's not as fun as driving them, but it's cool to put something together in the shop and then you watch it go around the track and you see it do good. And there's some enjoyment out of that, definitely. And I really like the coaching part of driving, or of helping, I should say, with talking to the drivers, because I've seen what they've seen, I've done what they've done, I know what they feel, I know what they're going through, so I feel like I can just identify with them really well. And you know, anyone can tell a driver, why'd you do this, or you should have done that, you should have done this, but I know why he did this or that because I've been in the seat and I've been in that situation. It's not always as easy as it looks from the outside. So the coaching part I really enjoy because I feel like I can identify with the driver, and it gives both of us, enjoyment out of achieving a goal.
Well, you were talking how you were helping with the drivers. Well, you actually got the opportunity to get back into a car this year. Heath Hall needed a sub because he's run for points at Marysville Raceway Park, and he dialed you up on the phone and asked you if you wanted to drive, and you said yeah. So what was it like being back in the car, and how'd you do?
It was awesome. It was great to be back in the car. I felt I was a little nervous that I wouldn't be up to speed, but actually I wasn't that bad as you would say for an old guy that hasn't raced in 2 years. I wasn't bad. We qualified 6 quick out of 19 cars, and we were third in the heat. And the car didn't want to turn. I got it too tight. It was my fault. And so I ended up falling back and got tangled up with another car. Another car jumped the cushion and hit me. So it was good though. I had fun. I was really grateful to Heath that he offered the car to me to drive and took the risk with what could happen. And I had lots of fun, and by doing it, I know that I could still drive. If I could race more than once every 2 years, I think I could get back up to speed. And it was a good time. Heath just wanted me to have fun, and I had fun, and felt good.
What event do you look forward the most to every year?
Well, that's a tough question because there's a lot of them, but the Vermeil race that we're going to coming up, I always look forward to going and racing at Calistoga. It just has so much history there. So many great drivers have won there, and I've got to race there quite a bit with a wing and without a wing, and so it's got to be one of the big ones because we go as a family, as you know, and we camp out, and I get to meet and hang out with my heroes as a kid. So Jimmy Sills, Jimmy Oskey, Steve Howard, Rick Gowdy, Leland McSpadden was there last year.
Yeah, he was Grand Marshal there last year.
Yeah, and so that was cool to get to see him again. I haven't seen him in years, and just a lot of our old friends that are I haven't seen in a while. They always go to that race because it has so much history in it, and even there was a trophy girl there from the '80s when I was a kid, Drake, and she used to wear little tiny bikinis at the race. Her name is Leslie Bremer, and so I can remember being a kid I was like 13, maybe 14, something like that, but at the races, and so I got to meet her, and she was actually a cool lady, and your mom got to meet her, and you met her too. She wasn't wearing a bikini this time though.
Thank God.
Yeah, no, I think she
God
would have
for
looked
children's
pretty good still. So anyways, I had fun there. Dave Argerbright was there.
Yeah.
That was cool. So that's why I like that race, and it's just a good time, a lot of good fun people to be around. So that's probably my favorite race of the year, even though it's coming up tomorrow.
Well, on to our fan zone question, which was submitted by Dane York. Who knows more about racing? I'm gonna bet you between you and Richard Forsberg and Andy Forsberg, and so who knows racing?
It's about you two. You or him.
Fine. Who knows more about racing? I already bet you, so you win.
Well, it's that's two answers. So if you go from, say, 2006 and older, I know more about racing. But whenever I need to know something about modern racing, you always know it. But I always say that's because kids have nothing to think about
Except school.
and racing. When I was a kid, everyone came to me and wanted to know who's in this car, who's in that car. I knew all the answers. We'd go to the races and people would say, how do you know so much about racing? You're just a kid. Well, I would read all the time. I read all my dad's old racing magazines, and I read all my programs, and so now you know more about racing, modern racing, than I do. but it's because you don't have anything to think about but school. So, and Richard Forsberg doesn't remember anything about racing.
What about Andy Forsberg?
Yeah, he knows a lot. I like talking.
I ask you guys when I want to know something
Yeah.
about the 80s.
I like talking to Andy about racing. We have a lot in common. We both grew up in the same era. We both like those old 80s sprint cars, and so we have good conversation. And he was in Northern California. I was in Southern California, so we have different views on things that are mostly the same. And I love their old car. It's a cool car, and so yeah. But you know more than me for the modern era.
Yeah, you're also working on an old car to stay in sprint car. How's that going along?
It's going good. I hope to have it done. My goal is to get it done next year for Louis Vermeil race, and it's getting there. People have seen it on Facebook, and I'm getting engine parts lined up now, and so this winter I need to really get on it and to have it done by next year, because we're going to be busy, next summer again. So I really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to driving a car that I grew up watching race.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Thank you, Daddy.
Thank you, Drake York.
Today's show has been presented by Tommy Herseth's Vintage Race Cars and Kevin Share Designs.